Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? If you're tuning in, give me a thumbs up. If you're tuning in, give me a... Let me mute this so that it's still not... At any rate, good morning. I'm hoping you can hear me. Welcome to day 2 of Andrea's Adventures Charity RPG Weekend. I'm Andrea Dreacher, the Andrea and Andrea's Adventurers. And I'm here with my husband, Blair Dreacher. We are the owners of Adventure Dice and the coordinators of Terminal City Tabletop Convention. And we're putting on this wonderful RPG weekend for a good cause. Before we begin, I'm going to start with a territory acknowledgement. So Blair and I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional, unceded, and ancestral territories of the Matsqui, Kwantlen, Katzie, and Semiahmoo First Nations. If you're tuning in from outside of Canada, we do this acknowledgement as part of the Truth and Reconciliation process to sort of acknowledge our troubled history here in Canada, that we were founded by colonialism, and to work towards our path to reconciliation with our true history and the Indigenous peoples, particularly here in British Columbia, where there was really no treaty signed with our First Nations peoples, and there was no wars fought. Settlers just sort of moved in, so this land is actually really truly stolen. So that's why we do this acknowledgement. So welcome to day 2. We had some wonderful adventures yesterday.
Late adventures.
Apparently the last session went till 2 a.m. So y'all are rock stars for doing that. Bringing the energy. And then our first session got all dressed up in some amazing cosplays. So if you check out our socials, I posted screen grabs from both games yesterday. So it was awesome. We've been clipping some segments, and we will have, hopefully at some point in the future, the recordings from these sessions up on the Terminal City YouTube channel. So you can watch and still enjoy our epic adventures. So what is this event? So Andrea's Adventures Charity RPG weekend is 3 days dedicated to raising funds for the Canadian Cancer Society. We have 9 sessions over the 3 days. So 9 wonderful game masters bringing you the RPG goodness via Dungeons & Dragons and Dungeon Crawl Classics. And we have 30 plus players participating, which is amazing. So we're hoping to raise $5,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society. Apologize, my dog's making noise under the table, and I realized last night this microphone is very, very good. We got a new one for our streaming setup, so it picks up everything. So so how did Andrea's Adventurers come along? So I myself am a cancer survivor. 4 years ago I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Blair and I tend to refer... The dog's still making noise, so I'm just gonna let him up. Come up here. Yes, you come up here. There we go. 4 years ago, Blair and I kind of refer to that as our year from hell. It was a really bad year for us as a couple, just because we had to weather some difficult things between my cancer and some bad car accidents that Blair was in, and we had to say goodbye to our wonderful dog Moose. It was just an all-around bad year. So going into 2018, we wanted to do something to fight back. We needed that control, and we wanted to make a difference, not just for myself, but for many others out there who are touched by cancer. There are those close to us who are survivors who are fighting cancer. I've lost an uncle to it. Someone really close to me is currently fighting, and I'm going to cry again. That's 2.
I lost a coworker.
it, it, this is just something that means a lot to us to fight back. I know both of our dreams is to see a cure for cancer within our lifetimes. So we're working really hard to fundraise. So yeah, in 2018 we joined the Relay for Life, which is a big fundraising event for the Canadian Cancer Society. You form a team and you raise funds, and then you go for this wonderful day. You hang out generally at like a track or an athletic park, and you set up like a little campsite, and it's just a fun day of events. So yeah, we did that in 2018. We managed to raise $2,800, which is amazing. And then 2019, we did it again. We expanded our fundraising efforts. We did a hot dog sale. We sold some epic t-shirts, which I was wearing last night, and we have up in our silent auction. And we raised $3,600, which is great. Yay! And then we did it again last year, but because of the stupid pandemic, the event really couldn't happen. So we only raised $1,000. But cancer doesn't stop because of the pandemic. I was really fortunate that I could have my support network with me while I was fighting, but those who are going through the cancer struggles right now, they unfortunately can't have their support network with them through many of the steps. Like in the chemo room, I was able to have Blair or my mom with me, but you can't have that extra guest. So yeah. So this year we again relayed for life. Couldn't really happen, but we really wanted to put something on. So we put our passion for our role-playing games together with our fundraising, and Andrea's Adventurous Charity Weekend was born. Hooray! So here we are. So like I said, we are trying to raise $5,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society. Last I looked, our fundraising total was already at $4,300.
Without the auction.
Yay! Which is amazing, and that doesn't include our silent auction fund. So thank you everybody who has donated so far. We're so excited. And it was a lot of fun last night to be able to bestow all of your wonderful donation perks on all of the players and the GMs. I get to be the donation fairy, so I send them the message when they get a perk donated, and it's so amazing. You just see their faces light up when I tell them. So if you watch the stream and you see like someone all of a sudden randomly start to beam and smile, it's probably because I told them about your perk. So whoa, Christoph just said we are at 4,800 now. Whoever just donated in the last like half an hour, thank you so much for kicking us up so much. Because I just checked like 20 minutes ago before we came on the air, and we were only at 43. So thank you for your support, everybody. That's so great. Speaking of ways you can donate, so there are 4 different ways you can support us this weekend. If you go, and I'm gonna get the URLs right today. That is my goal, because I kept mucking them up, whether I typoed them or said the wrong one. So there's 4 ways you can support us this weekend. If you go to www.andreasadventures.ca, you can see the ways you can help us out. The first one is you can donate. So we have a link that will take you directly to the Canadian Cancer website, where you can make a donation. You will get a tax receipt from them, as they are a charitable organization. Canadian. If you're Canadian. Well, you'll still get one either way. But
can't do anything with it.
because they are a charitable organization. And those donations will give, like I said, some perks and maybe some not good things to our GMs and players this weekend. So a $10 donation gets a D6 of inspiration. Oh, excuse me. My allergies are really bugging me, so. Okay, so $10 donation gives you a D6 of inspiration to a random player. $20 donation gives a natural 20 to a player of your choice, and those definitely came in clutch, I think, yesterday.
They certainly saved our other Goliath last night, because someone cast Fireball and ended up killing him. So That nat
Was
20,
that you?
That nat 20 really came in handy on his death save because it was a nat 20.
Yeah.
So it automatically saved
helped.
it. Yeah, that was very convenient. I'm not answering that other question.
For $50, you can give a natural 20 or a natural 1 to one of our game masters this weekend, which was also chaotic. If you do the natural 1, the party gets to decide when the GM uses it, so...
And Jim's face when the party decides is always, oh.
Yeah, you just see them. It's so fun, so that's a good one. For $75, you can gift a player a greater healing potion, which I do have some to hand out today and tomorrow, which is good. So a greater healing potion and a D6 of inspiration. For $100, you get to gift a natural 20 or 1 to the GM and a player of your choice, so you get 2 of them. And Adventure Dice is going to donate a set of dice to Camp Good Times, which is a camp for kids and families that have been affected by cancer. They obviously haven't been able to do their traditional camp, but one of the things they're doing is they've been running D&D virtually for their kiddos, and we know someone who has actually attended the D&D sessions, so we are really excited to be able to support this program. So yeah, for $100 we will donate a set to them. We also have some awesome goodies that our friends at Rain City Games here in Vancouver and New Westminster donate to us that we can also donate to them. So exciting. For $200 donations, you get all of the perks. So you get the D6 of inspiration. You get like 4 nat 20s or 1s that you get to give out to GMs and players, plus the dice donation, plus the healing potion. So you get all of the things. And we also have another donation tier that Blair and I just kind of threw in for fun, that if you donate $500, Blair and I will play some Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition with you.
If you look at the donations,
yep.
That may have been what put us...
Oh, we may have gotten one. Yeah. So there you go. We will play D&D with you. Either Blair or I will DM. We've been talking about it. We aren't really sure, but I might just take you through the Super Happy Fun Murder Dungeon, which is an epic module that I love running. So, yeah. So if you donate through this way, I will be emailing you to determine who to give your perks to, or you can come on our Discord and message me. You can find me. My name is Andrea, she, her on our Discord, and just let me know who you want to bestow your gifts to. So that's exciting. The second way you can support our fundraising efforts is through our silent auction. We have had some wonderful things donated from our sponsors, including like D&D Beyond content bundles. So we've got player bundles, we've got the source book bundles, which has 14 books in it, and then we have the legendary bundle up for auction, which has like all of the content on D&D Beyond, which is amazing. We've got dice, we've got tickets to Terminal City, we've got some of our awesome Andrea's Adventurers team shirts, which are limited edition. We don't have very many of them left, so if you snag one of them, they feature the logo graphic up here that was designed by our wonderful friend Christy Connolly. Yeah, so I was wearing it last night, so pretty epic. We have board games from Craven for a game. We have a Bugbear Bubbles Fireball soap, which is actually the first time that they've released the soap. We have the exclusive. We have got a Dungeon Keep shopping spree for their Etsy store. We've got a Dungeons and Doggos package, which includes a custom pet portrait by local artist Haley Burrows, which I have pet portraits of these 2 goobers that she did, as well as our pets that have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. So really exciting. Haley also donated a copy of Fairy Fire, which is a 5e supplement, and Astro Lego Press threw in some digital kits of Fairy Fire and Witch and Craft. We've got a Hero Book GM book, a wonderful leather crafted D20 bag by Legendary Craftworks, and a Lord of the Rings inspired clock. We've got The last prize is a Writopia Lab creative writing workshop that you can do online. It's for kids and teens, and I believe you get to specify the age, so it's not specific to an age. So we have those wonderful silent auction items that you can bid on. Another way you can support us is if you go to Andrea's Adventure, you can go to andreasadventures.ca, but if you go to adventuredice.ca, which is us, we are selling Andrea's Adventurers dice sets. We have the 2021 ones and the 2022. We have just a few of these left. But Blair and I donate all the profits that we would normally make off the sale of a dice set to our fundraising efforts. So we don't make anything off these. So you can get a set of dice inspired by this weekend. The 2021 ones are red and blue with this kind of like flaky, shimmery look to them. And then the 2020 ones are orange and pink with kind of traditional glitter. So adventuredice.ca, you can snap up a charity dice set. I'll do some ASMR of the dice and the going clicky clack. The last way you can support us this weekend is by helping share and spread the word out on social media for our weekend. So use the hashtag Andrea's Adventurers, tag us at AdventureDice, at Terminal CityCon. Help us spread the word, follow us here on Twitch, subscribe, and just let's try and get lots of people involved because it's awesome and give you the warm fuzzies. I know that a lot of our GMs and players, this is a cause that's close to their hearts as well. The sad stat is that 1 in 2 Canadians are going to be diagnosed with cancer, which is bonkers to think about. That is a lot of people. Like half of our country will have cancer. So it's definitely a cause close to our hearts. So we are getting set up for our first session. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our wonderful world. If I'd brought up the spreadsheet, I will do my best to try and do it off by memory, but as I go. But at any rate, our wonderful adventures are set in the world of Thalia, which you can see this bit of this beautiful map behind me. The map was drawn by our DM Lauren, who will be on tomorrow. Thalia is inspired by the Metro Vancouver, British Columbia area. So if you're from around here, if you've been here, you'll probably see some familiar geography, a lot of nudges and winks to the world. And yeah, so all of the adventurers center around the Andrea's Adventurers Guild. It is a group of like-minded adventurers whose goal it is to put good out into the world. The leader of the guild is a retired adventurer named Andrea. Who could that be? A bard wizard who wanted to bring friends together for good tales and fun journeys. Anyone can join the guild by taking up a quest and returning to share their story. They operate out of a small tavern that caters to adventurers and encourages the sharing of tales at the table, along with games of chance. Other interesting things about this world, the biggest religion in our world is called the Great Bird, and they run the local library, which is called the Elcar's Serapeum. About 5 years ago in our story time, the town was devastated because half of the Serapeum actually burned down. Nobody was ever really able to determine the cause of the fire or what the purpose was. But yeah, so in our timeline, 5 years later, the mystery of that still has remained unsolved. Will we find the answers this weekend? I'm not sure, but we'll see. The acolytes of the Great Bird are in the process of rebuilding the Serapeum. The scars of the fire are still evident. The burns and scarred pieces of the building can be seen in the rebuilt section. Essentially, they reused the pieces of the Serapeum that they could to help rebuild. So you'll see like a fresh brick wall with some darker bricks in it, and those are the scars of the old library that burned down. Much of the knowledge was unfortunately from this section was unfortunately lost, but they are working to reacquire what they can through various means. So that is kind of a little bit of an intro. We still have about 8 minutes before we go live. Last night's adventures, one involved going and getting a vampire who had a cure that could cure a kiddo. They bribed some bullets along the way with brownies, and and then the other adventurer, they were investigating a giant sinkhole south of the actual town of Thalia. How'd that go, Blair?
Successfully, more or less.
More or less successfully, as adventurers typically do.
Yeah, that was good. It was good fun.
I'm just gonna bring up the Twitch stream. How's everybody doing this morning? We checking out the chat.
I can bring Christoph online if you want to ask him about his game.
Coming up, talk about it. Sure.
Okay, well,
we're gonna try and
ask to unmute. Well,
we'll unmute him.
We'll see if he actually lets me unmute him or not. And then I'll also have to.
Do you still have your? There we go.
Am I? Oh, I'm invisible but speaking.
You're invisible but speaking. There you go.
No, that's the wrong one. That's the one.
Okay, cool. What did you want to hear about? My game? Which game? My game that I made or my game that I'm running?
Whichever you would like to. We got 7 minutes, so
we'll hear all about my game that I'm going to be running for the next 4 hours. But so I am the designer of a game called Free Spacer. It's a sci-fi sandbox tabletop role-playing game where the players take the role of a crew on a small, flexible contract ship. And I'm proud to say I was nominated for Best Rules at the Indie Groundbreakers last year.
Which is so awesome.
The game uses entirely original mechanics. Basically an opposed dice pool system where you have like good dice and bad dice and you roll them all together, and it's a pretty cool game. It's very science fiction. It's like I designed all the mechanics and created the whole game to really be about science fiction stuff. So you can do science projects. If you want to build something, you can do that. It's a little bit got the idea. A free spacer is like this person who is like a contractor in space. So Free Spacer is a little bit of an ironic title for the adventurers in this kind of setting. You work for like a major organization that can be friendly or not to you, and you go off and do things for them, and you have to negotiate your contracts as you go. So it's got a weird power fantasy of, hey, I'm a contractor, but I always have a house because you have a spaceship. So that's an amazing contractor perk. But at the same time, you can't really turn down jobs, just like in real life. So it's kind of this interesting push the players, push the characters as far as you can to do things, and then they can like try to change factions or such later on as part of like, the meta game. So I think it's a really neat game. It did pretty well on its Kickstarter a couple of years ago now, and I'm just kind of pushing it along while I work on another game that I'm pretty excited about.
Exciting.
Spoilers.
Thanks for sharing.
And if you want to learn about it yourself, better than me randomly doing this unexpected thing, you can learn all about that at freespacer.com.
There you go. And I'm sure you will be running some sessions at Terminal City Convention 2022 if we can have it in person.
I definitely will. I always do. There's usually one session. It's usually Saturday afternoon.
There you go. So
or Sunday afternoon sometimes.
Hopefully we can do Terminal City next year. We're very hopeful.
Matt and I miss coming down there and running games for everybody so much. So
okay. So speaking of sponsors, which Christoph, as one of our GMs, is one of them, I will shout out all the rest of our amazing sponsors. So obviously Adventure Dice. is a sponsor in Terminal City Tabletop Convention. We also have D&D Beyond. So they have donated, as I mentioned before, several of their content bundles. We will be giving away 2 more player bundles this weekend. Yay! So you have to be watching in order to win. Last night you had to guess a number, put it in the chat, and we picked whoever was closest without going over. We aren't sure if we'll do that again, but
I've yet to win one, so I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed. We also have lots of players bundles up and a legendary bundle up in the silent auction, so you can win that way. Rain City Games donated a bunch of goodies. RPG Scenery donated some of their beautiful maps and their 4K videos. They're super gorgeous. All of the DMs were super excited to see them. So you will see some of those this weekend for sure. Craven for a Game donated the board games. Dungeon Keep donated a wonderful shopping spree, and Kimberly's playing this weekend. I believe in this next session.
Yes.
So there you go. And then, of course, Haley Boros donated the Dungeons and Doggos and some other goodies. And then all of our wonderful friends in the podcast community and streaming community who've joined us. And I hope I don't miss anybody, but the DMs of Vancouver, the Cave Goblin Network, Roarcat Reads, the Vancouver D&D Collective, the YVR Dungeon Masters, Not Presently Deceased Podcast, Agents of Damn Podcast. It's been such a wonderful community turnout. So thank you, everybody. It means a lot. I was watching the donations come in, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So yeah, we are at $4,800. Oh, we have passed the $5,000. I just refreshed the page. We have passed our $5,000 goal.
That might have been Sean again. He was just
So,
messaging me.
oh, that's so amazing. Thank you so much. Yay. Oh, I'm so excited. We're not even halfway into day 2 and we've passed our goal. So that is epic.
Plus there's all the auction.
Plus the auction still to add to that. So let's keep going. Let's see how much we can get this weekend. One of our Discord friends is hoping that we will raise $7,400, which is our Andrew's Adventurers totals from the last 3 years combined. So they have set that goal, $7,400, to beat all of our previous years combined. So
I think we may have beat that. If we're at 5,000 on the website,
we might have already beat it.
Oh no, the auction's not. Okay, no, we haven't yet.
So thank you, everyone who donated. We are getting so keep donating. It's such a great cause, so it means a lot to us. But yay, I'm so excited. So excited. It's one of the things when you do an event like this, you don't know how it's gonna go until you do it. So it's exciting. And I realize it's 9 a.m. now, so we are going to transition just to our waiting screen for half a minute, just so we can make sure everybody's audio is good to go, and then we will take it back to the game. So see you in a short minute.